Detroit HD2.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit. The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
WGPR-FM.
Variety, and when they say something inspirational or like, just make my day.
107.5 HD2 Detroit.
It's that time, y'all. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Yeah, it's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Yeah, it's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. It's straight talk with Valerie. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on.
What's happening? What's happening, everybody in Detroit and surrounding areas? You are listening to 107.5 HD2, the real black coffee, no sugar, no cream, straight talk with Valerie. And tonight, here I go again, talking about something that I shouldn't even be talking about. It breaks my heart to continuously talk about these stories, but guess what? A lot of other outlets don't really break it all the way down like we gonna get down with it tonight. Policing. The no snitch culture did not begin in the streets. It began in policing. Not telling on one another. Not talking about what goes on behind the scenes. Cover up. Injustice. Heinous acts. Wrongdoing. And the list goes on. No, we don't want criminals on the street, but we don't want them in our police departments either. It sickens me what is going on in the Westland Police Department. There's some videos that have surfaced and informants that have reached out to me, and also my co-host, Trisha Duckworth, about the heinous behavior and misconduct and injustice that's going on in the Westland Police Department. So as a result of that, I'm going to call this show, Can a Leopard Change Its Spots? Hell no. Marquise, roll the clip.
But we begin tonight with a local police chief who says he does not expect his officers to behave the way he did years ago. Thank you so much for joining us for 7 Action News at 6. I'm Carolyn Clifford.
And I'm Mike Duffy. Westland's police chief does not deny taking part in allegedly humiliating people when he was working as a patrol officer, but he says the revelation of the videos is an attempt to embarrass him. 7
Action News reporter Kimberly Craig shows us what's on some of those videos that recently got the attention of state police.
Michigan State Police say they've investigated what's seen on these videos recorded about 25 years ago. And Westland's police chief says that he does not recall his exact involvement, but says he's embarrassed by his behavior. And a social justice advocate is calling for him to be fired.
You can do it, man. You the man. You the man.
A series of old videos showing mostly intoxicated people and their encounter with Westland Police recently surfaced. They're the videos that a tipster turned over to Michigan State Police,
I'm gonna try and kill myself with all this alcohol.
alleging that the officer is current Police Chief Jeff Jedrusik. Action News does not know if the voice heard or the officer seen in the old video clips is Jedrusik, and Jedrusik, who is now 50 years old, isn't saying.
All right, follow those things. I give you a stand. For what? You want to stand on your head? You want to go to jail?
In this clip, an officer tells an intoxicated man to stand on his head or he's going to jail.
Will you listen to me?
You want to go to jail?
I had a closed head injury. I cannot do nothing.
Can you spit on your back like bird games? You want to try or you go to jail?
Social justice activist Trisay Duckworth also received the videos.
I believe that the chief should be fired. I believe that he should not be given the opportunity to resign. No, he should be fired.
Here we go. Pick it up. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. You can pick it up higher than that.
Several times it appears that people are being asked to sing, dance, or perform some other task in exchange for not being taken to jail.
I want you to go take that rock over there and I want you to move it on the other side and then you can go home.
And in one clip, the person continues to record an intoxicated woman after she pulls her pants down to clean herself.
I was horrified for the people that had been filmed.
Here's part of an interaction with one man.
Okay, I'll tell you what, buddy. Sting me, Yankee Doodle Dandy, we'll take you home right now and forget about everything. Can you sing any songs? You can't even sing a song? You want all these breaks, you want all these ride homes, but you can't even sing a song for us.
I'll talk to my boy.
Tell me a joke then. Tell me a joke and I'll drive you home.
Tell you a joke?
Yeah, tell me a joke.
In a statement to Action News, Chief Jedrusik says, although I don't recall my exact involvement in these videos, I realize that as young officers we were being very immature. I am embarrassed by my behavior. I would never act that way today, and I would not expect my officers to act that way. When I was made aware of this video floating around, I immediately reached out to our city attorney and the deputy mayor. The chief claims that the video is being edited and is now being used against him in some ongoing civil matters. He believes the videos were released to embarrass him. He claims no laws were broken and says that because these incidents were more than 25 years ago, city officials decided there is no need for an internal investigation. He adds that because of ongoing civil litigation, he's unable to comment further, but apologizes to the citizens of Westland and the people in the videos.
Hey, which one of you guys is driving? Come on, guys, let's sing it now.
That bonnet just flipped. That pretty bonnet just flipped.
Westland Mayor Michael Londo says the city attorney...
As a result of that, we are going to have a conversation. Because, see, on The Real Black Coffee, I come black, strong, and unfiltered. So we're getting ready to get into it. I'm going to bring the producer of this show, my warrior sister, my friend, and social justice advocate, and also the founder of Survivor Speaks, Trisay Duckworth. Give her some applause, Marquise. Clap it up.
What's up, Detroit? I am grateful to be here. I can't say that I'm excited to talk about what we're talking about because it's a continuation of the history of policing, really, if you want to be technical about it. And, you know, it's very disheartening. I'll just stop there and then we can go on in because I got so much to say, but I don't want to overload the introduction. So what's up, Detroit? We're going to get to it.
Yes, we are. And
it's all nah, hell nah Monday.
That's right. It is all nah, hell nah Monday. A leopard cannot change his spots.
That's
and
right.
This show's going to be fire because we got former Sheriff Dyer. Bring it on. Let's bring it.
Thank you. I am grateful to be here to have the opportunity to dialogue. I wish we wouldn't have to keep dialoguing about these horrible injustices that we see happen over and over and over again. I probably watched those video clips I don't know how many times today, and it's extremely concerning. And I also won't flood the introduction, but for anyone that doesn't know me, I worked as a deputy sheriff in Washtenaw County for a lot of years before leaving and going back to school for social work and policy. I then started working as a community organizer, and I'm now running for sheriff in Washtenaw County. So thank you for having me on the show.
No problem. When we want to get down to it at the grassroots level for the people, you came to my mind first. And before we get into it, I just can't say enough that Alicia left her job as a sheriff because she did not like the culture. She did not want to get quota and just write tickets and harm people who are already marginalized. And that's why she left the sheriff's department. And I just want to put that out there because we need more people like her that are willing to stand up and do the right thing. So let's get to it. So we're going to start with another clip, and then we're going to break it down because I'm troubled by a police officer or police chief saying, I don't really recall my actions. Why the hell are you a police officer then? You have to go to court and testify for certain things. You're supposed to be able to recall information. So what do you mean you don't recall? So Marquise, hit us with another clip so we can get into this.
Don't go to bed with no price on your head. No, no. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do the crime if you can't do the crime. Yeah. Don't do it. And keep your eyes.
I was going home to my mom.
Stand it over here. You know nothing you should have? Hands up.
11, 13. Okay, 11. Those ain't
Alberta? You guys are doing something?
No, I'm not calling nothing, man.
You're not causing nothing?
All I want to do is go home. 311. 311, go ahead. I'm going to do a follow-up on the phone on Melrose Street. Between 96 and 11.
You want to blast them?
I have 311.
You had to or you ought to?
Oh, yeah, I had to blast it.
What do you want to blast it? You want to try to blast it?
I don't want no problem.
You want to try to blast it right now?
I don't want no problem.
You want to try to blast it?
41, what do you call it?
You want to try to blast it?
All I want to do is go home.
Alright,
834-830 Stellwagon, 34860 Stellwagon on the lockout, the green Ford.
Stand up on 1 foot. Keep up there.
41.
You stand on your hands? Balance in your hands?
I ain't going
You want to try it or what? You try it or what?
All I want to do is go home.
Okay, you want to try to stand on your hands? You can move on? No? Alright, well listen, I'll give you a chance.
For what?
You want to try to stand on your hands or you want to go to jail? Huh?
I didn't do nothing wrong.
You want to try to stand on your hands or you want to go to jail?
I cannot stand on my hands, sir.
You want to try it or what? Try it or you
I had a closed head.
You want to try it or not? Okay, you're going to jail then.
Will you listen to me?
You want to go to jail?
I had a closed head, Archer. I cannot do nothing like that.
Can you spin on your back like breakdancing? You want to try it or you're going to go to jail? Try it.
I can't do that.
Okay, go to jail then.
That's bullshit.
Okay. Away it goes.
Well, I want to talk to my brother.
380 flowing.
Have a seat.
And I want to talk to Nick, Officer Al.
Negative. Have a seat.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Yeah, it is bullshit.
Good speed, man.
I want to talk to That's goddamn bullshit.
All right, officer. You want to go
Want
home?
some shit, bitch.
Do you want to go home or what, man? Do you want to go home? Can you hear me? Do you want to go home or not?
I want to talk to Al.
Do you want to go home?
I want to talk to Al.
Al?
He knows who Al is.
I don't know who Al is. Who's Al?
Yeah, go and talk to Al. Go and talk to my
Alice
brother,
Cooper?
man.
Alice Cooper?
Yes. No.
Where you want to take me, man? I'm not driving to Cedar Point.
Take me to my motherfucking brother's house, bitch.
Where's your motherfucking brother's house, bitch?
You know where it's at.
Bitch?
Yeah, you do.
Where at, bitch?
No, don't take me to fucking... Take me to my fucking brother.
What happened last time you went to jail, buddy? What happened?
I'm not looking to go to jail.
What happened last time you went?
I'm not looking to go.
But what happened last time you went? You got maced, didn't you? You want to get maced again?
And you motherfuckers think you're bad shit when you mace me.
Boy, are you bad shit?
I'll make pick up to 202.
Oh, that's only why you have to have 2 police cars.
Police car, man.
Ain't that right? Ain't that really fucking right?
Yeah. He's trying to be nice, man. We're like a big taxi service.
You was really fucking nice, wasn't you?
Okay, we're really nice, buddy. Are you really nice?
Well, what about my boy?
Okay, I'll tell you what, buddy. Sting me, Yankee Doodle Dandy, we'll take you home right now and forget about everything. Can you sing any songs? You can't even sing a song? You want all these breaks, you want all these ride homes, but you can't even sing a song for us.
I'll talk to my boy.
Tell me a joke, then. Tell me a joke and I'll drive you home.
Tell you a joke?
Yeah, tell me a joke.
What about something about my little boy, man?
Tell me a joke about your little boy.
I have to love my little boy.
You love your little boy?
Very much.
That's not a funny joke.
No, it's not a joke.
Okay, you want to sing a song?
I love my little boy with all my heart.
Sing me a song about your little boy, then.
Would you guys please get right there?
I do want to say the distortion that you hear is not anything wrong with the tape. That is another officer who is with, at that time, Officer Jedrusik, and his or her voice, I'm assuming it's a man from what the informant has said, was blurred out so that he would not be implicated. And I just want to say that for the listeners and for this broadcast. So when you hear that blurry gurgling type sound, that is not distortion of this tape. That is the other officer who was on the scene witnessing, and when Jedrusik was being filmed, that officer was filming allegedly. So that officer's voice has been blurred out. So let's break it down. We're going to start with Dyer. When a traffic stop occurs or you're called to the scene and a person is intoxicated, how do you handle that situation? What is supposed to happen?
So the number one thing that should be on any first responder's mind is their safety and the safety of the public. So if you are conducting a traffic stop because you suspect that somebody is operating while intoxicated, then the goal is to make sure that they safely pull over, and then you would conduct an OWI investigation. None of which is what we saw in those videos. If somebody is not driving and you're called for a disturbance or for something where someone's drinking, then it's still your job is to make sure that they can get home safe and that they can remain safe. Your job is not to humiliate them or make fun of them or try to coerce them into doing things for you. That is a violation of power. That is a violation of conduct. The ways that the officers reacted and operated in that video is grossly unjust. And really speaks to the broader issue of the culture, even knowing there's another officer there. And, you know, I've talked to actually retired officers because I had a lot of issues with the way the culture was when I was policing. And sometimes what I was told is, oh, well, you should have been here 10 years ago. If you think this is bad, you wouldn't have lasted a week 10 years ago. And the fact that that's the response and the fact that that's the status quo and the default of how officers act with people that they should be caring about is a problem. And I think there's an interesting bias too when you think about police in general and accountability, because if the public watches a video like this, and I don't know how people would not be angry after they watch this, but for the people that might be thinking, oh, well, then why did they do this? Or why did they do this? If we saw doctors doing that, I think we would be having a very different conversation right now. If someone's surgeon was recording somebody, making fun of them in a hospital bed, I think that the conversation wouldn't be, oh, that was just 20 years ago. And so I think that's important to highlight as well.
Thank you. So, Trisha, my warrior sister, my friend, social justice advocate, tap in, sister. Let us hear what you have to say.
I first want to pause and give respect to those who were violated in these videos. Us sharing this video was in no way to embarrass or harm them. We just knew that this had to get out because it's something that had been covered for many, many years. This story was brought to us by an informant who is not the Buckleys. Let me FYI that, because everybody thinks that we got the tape from the Buckleys or we got the tape from, as the chief stated, his ex-wife. We did not get this footage from either one of those persons. So let me start there. However, the informant that this video originally came from, who is not who we got it from again, moved to block out and protect the identity of allegedly Officer Matt Price. So he is named right now, allegedly, that was Officer Matt Price. You can run, but you can't hide. As we stated, everybody in this video needs to be held accountable. This first clip that you've seen, I'm a social worker. Alicia's a social worker. This first clip you've seen is a man saying he had a traumatic brain injury. That means something. I need our social workers, our mental health advocates to stand up on behalf of this gentleman that was violated in this video. I don't care how long ago it was. See, because everybody wants to say, oh, that was so many years ago, I was just being immature. No, you were operating with high levels of abuse of power, which is misconduct to the highest level. And not only that, I even see video voyeurism where you're filming people naked, you're filming people exposed that have urinated on themselves. There was a lot of wrongdoing in these videos. And so to say that we were immature and oh my goodness, no, what you did was you set the tone, which probably was there before you were there, but the tone was set even further for the culture of that office that led us into some other things that we'll talk about a little later. But with a culture being set like that, how can we, if the chief himself cannot be held accountable, how can we ever think that officers under him would ever be held accountable either? Because if they're all used to the behavior because they seen their chief doing it, he can't hold them accountable. That would be hypocritical. So that's why he moves to cover up things or to not expose things and to allow these things to happen allegedly. We're going to say allegedly on everything, even though we know that it happened. And it needs to be, I don't even want to say looked into because we all looked at it. We need some swift actions, which will start with city council doing their doggone job, the mayor doing their doggone job, voting him out, removing him from his seat, firing that man for taking advantage of Westland citizens. That is the highest, in my opinion, other than killing somebody and harming somebody physically. You did harm somebody. You traumatized folks. And we all know that when it comes to mental health, even though it's a mental health issue, that can also affect you physically when it comes to trauma and anxiety and all of these things. This needs to be looked into. We need swift actions, and we need people that are going to stand up. We don't need no jellyback people that want to sit down and say, oh, I'm going to take this. Nah, when you see this video, you stand for what's right, because it might not be you today, but it can be you tomorrow.
Absolutely. And, that's troubling because when I heard individuals say, well, this was a long time ago, it made me think about the culture within rape. I was raped. You don't have the right to tell me how long I have to deal with that, how long I have to speak up about it, how long I have trauma behind it. You don't have the right to tell me that. So I don't give a damn. how long ago it was. The culture has been set. And for him to say, you know, well, I was immature at the time or whatever. Okay, so you have some cops that are doing immature things, so you're going to allow them, as Trisha said, to get away with that because you can recall when you were immature and doing things that you weren't supposed to be doing? No. That's not how this works. That's how it's working in Westland, but that's not how it should work. Now, I don't even know if City Council was made aware because from what I understood, they didn't know. The video surfaced and it is, I think, back in February. Is that correct, Trisha?
The video was given to, might not have been City Council. I know that the city attorney allegedly had access to this video in February. And what we were also told by the informant, the chief says that when he was made aware about the video, he reached out. That's not what happened, allegedly. Allegedly, what happened was they reached out to him once the video was given to the city attorney and a couple other folks who the video was given to. Then that is when the chief was informed allegedly about this video. So they're very good over there in Westland spinning stories, but just because they spin stories doesn't mean that it's the truth. Challenge everything that you hear, Westland citizens, and even citizens that are riding through there, because folks are being racially profiled. If you're black, you ride through there, you can get yourself in trouble. Challenge everything because there's high levels of misconduct allegedly going on in Westland.
I am disgusted. I am hurt. I have family members who have been arrested in Westland who have said and told stories very similar to these. So we're going to look at another video right now.
Don't go to bed with no price on your head. No. Don't do it. Don't do the crime if you can't do the crime. Yeah. Don't do it. And keep your eye.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Why are you laying in the grass? Huh?
Copy 2A.
Stand up, man. Stand up. Stand up.
Why?
So I said to stand up. Stand up right now. Can you stand up?
Why?
Stand up right now.
What the hell you want me to stand up for?
I want you to walk over to the police car. Go, walk to the police car. What are you doing out here, man? Hey.
201 at 37.
Hey, come here.
37 Ford. 37387 Ford. Electronic connection. 201.
Stop for a second. Hey, stop. What's your name? What are you doing out here, Bill?
Nothing.
Why are you out here falling down sleeping in the park?
I'm not doing nothing.
Are you drunk?
No, sir.
Yes, you are?
No, sir.
How much you had to drink? Huh? How much you had to drink? Did you piss your pants? You want to go to jail for being drunk in the park?
No, sir.
Well, then what are you doing here?
Doing nothing, man.
ABC. Huh?
Whatever. I ain't done nothing.
Can you sing any songs?
Huh?
Sing a song.
ABC, yes, I care. I love you, sweetheart. I love you, sweetheart. I love you, sweetheart. I love you, sweetheart. I love you. And I always take a big, still pick a song up, a banjo, whatever I'm singing.
Keep going.
And I love you, baby. Whatever it might be. Yeah.
Okay, I want you to go take that rock over there, and I want you to move it on the other side, and then you can go home.
My heart is broken and shattered. I have friends and relatives who suffer from alcoholism, and just to think that they could have possibly been treated this way in Westland breaks my heart, pisses me off. We have a comment. Hi, Pastor Pruitt. We have Edward Pruitt, who is a Westland citizen and ran for city council, and he says the situation in Westland is beyond repair with the current leadership in place. Violations of public trust continue to occur and must be addressed at all root causes, must be dealt with appropriately. I agree. Alicia, when you were watching that last clip, what was going through your mind?
It's hard to watch. And, you know, I was also looking at the comments, and, you know, the comment about leadership is so important, because when you think about how harmful our legal system is and this culture, now we have something that we use when people are under the influence of alcohol. There's something that it's called standardized field sobriety test. That's what should be happening. It has nothing to do with singing a song or all of these tactics. That's just pure abuse of power. And so to see another officer using their power over somebody in that way, it was really hard to watch. But it also, for me, is a bit triggering, because it reminds me and makes me think back to the days when I was on patrol, and how bad sometimes the culture can be around how people are even processing incidents that they respond to. Now, I never saw an officer do something like this, but I would hear a lot of comments, right? I mean, I was working a lot with young people, and I care deeply about them. And I remember one officer telling me, "I don't know why you care so much about these, quote, shitheads," was what he said, which in my opinion is another slur. And he really believed that. He believed that the young people, that here I am trying to help because we have our young people dying, and he really thinks that there's no hope. And it's that attitude, and this happens in a lot of hyper-masculine, male-dominated spaces where people have a lot of power over others, and the power's unchecked. There's no accountability. Leadership is just as bad, or leadership isn't willing to actually do the work necessary to stop a lot of the harmful culture. And it's also the way in which police for years have really been allowed to operate. And then you get in the situation where there's a groupthink mentality. And if you go against that groupthink mentality, then you're the bad guy. And you have to worry about, are you going to have backup or not? You have to worry about, are you never going to get promoted? And across the country, looking at incidents in policing, sometimes the worst officers are the ones getting promoted. And so to know that this chief operated like that for a long time, and hell, we need a whole review of the department, because who else is promoted that was with him back 25 years ago? And so to know that they were operating like this and there's just no accountability, and it might be true, I do believe that people change. I think everybody can change, but that doesn't mean that people shouldn't be held accountable. And the trust is broken. The trust has been broken. And so to say that there's no need to do an investigation, to say that there's no need for accountability just because it happened a long time ago, quite frankly, is not okay. I agree with what you said. We don't do that for sexual assault. You know, we don't say, oh, that was a long time ago, though. We look into it, right? And so it's why I deeply believe that a lot of these departments, it's not even just Westland. I bet there's other departments where they're doing the same stuff. I remember when I was in grad school when George Floyd was killed, and word got out that LAPD was passing out a George Floyd Valentine's Day card to people on the force. And it's a problem all across our country, and this department is no different. Washtenaw County is no different. We have issues too. And if we don't start changing leaderships in these organizations, I don't actually believe things are ever going to change. And there's things happening now that 10 years from now, are we going to be like, oh, well, that was 10 years ago and it was acceptable then? Or are we actually going to do something forward thinking and before more people are harmed? Because my thing is, how do we prevent more people from being harmed? Clearly, there was no accountability in place to make sure that all these people that were in this video were not harmed. And then the trauma that just they're living with probably still. And it's not okay. And it really pisses me off.
You know, when I think about judges, court, police officers or whatever, school boards, when that superintendent school board relationship, city council or whatever, we got it twisted. When I go to court, I'm at home. That's my house. I pay the bills here. The same way at the police station. It's my house. I pay the bills here. When I'm at court, this is my house. I pay the bills here. When I walk into a school, this my school, I pay the bills here, because none of them would be working if it wasn't for my tax dollars at work, number one. And Trichet has said it best, and I concur. Where in the world do you get a job you hired, and then you just get to do whatever you want to do? And your boss just turn a blind eye? Where in the world does that occur? Well, Westland Police Department, apparently. Anywhere else you're hired, you do something wrong, you held accountable. You do something wrong, your boss should intervene. They don't turn a blind eye. You don't become a employee at Amazon or anywhere else, and then once you do that, you do whatever you want to do and chop it up to immaturity. No, that's not how that works. But it seems to work in some of these systems. And the cycles within these systems over the years. And Alicia, you said it best. Like, you know, when they said, well, it's better than it was 10 years ago. So what? That doesn't mean that it is the best that it can be just because it's better than it was. Come on now. Trisha, you ready to tap back in on this one?
That last clip, I ain't gonna lie, it bruised my soul. You know, I think about my wrongdoings in life, and at my most vulnerable moments, what if somebody would have filmed me? And this man sitting here, he has urinated on himself, and to hear the sheriff say, oh, you pissed your pants, like that's something to celebrate or be funny about. You know, it shows that nobody is safe there in Westland. They say protect and serve and all of that. Those are just cliche words, because those were not moments of protect and serve. They were not moments of, what's the word I'm looking for? Of immaturity. It shouldn't be chalked up and dismissed as, oh, that was a long time ago, we were just immature officers. It should have never happened. No officer should ever be allowed to operate with this type of conduct and then have it just be swept under the rug. And we talk about that was back then, and we're going to talk about it in a few minutes, that is still happening to this very day. It happened even after that, which was a result of many things, even loss of life.
Yes.
When do you care? Somebody died and you still don't care? And for somebody to say that, oh, I would never do that again, and oh, I think Alicia said people can change. You cannot change unless you yourself are willing to hold you accountable. Nobody should have had to come out with this. He should have known that this was something that he did and came forward and said, I acted in a manner which was not pleasing to this city of Westland, to my position as an officer. He should have stepped down himself. You can't say you changed if there's no accountability. There's no change. You just shifted positions. And now you're allowing a lot more people under your watch allegedly do what you did when you were a patrol cop. That's why we need everybody to be calling city council, everybody to be calling the mayor. They don't get to say what's wrongdoing or not. You are the boss in Westland citizens. And if you say that this behavior is so disrespectful and this behavior should have never happened, then it is on you as a citizen to not look away, but to lean into Westland City Council and lean into the mayor until they do the right thing. And you have to push past all of these people that would make excuses for this kind of behavior. Because if it was their mother or their father or their sister or their brother, I guarantee you they would not feel like that.
You know, and people keep saying this was a long time ago. Yes, this was pre-body cam. So what you riding around with a recorder for? Like, we just got to the place where we want body cams on every officer and to record everything. So I just do not understand for the life of me why people think this is okay. I tell you one thing, if you would change the hue, add some more melanin to that skin, and let
that part,
a black officer, do any of this stuff, we wouldn't be talking about, oh, you know, he's sorry and he was immature. He'll be fired.
Exactly.
On the spot until further investigation.
Exactly.
He would not still be working. Not at all. Fired on the spot. So I don't understand why anybody would say that was a long time ago, why anybody would make excuses for this behavior, why anybody would think that it's okay. It's not okay. Westland City Council, it's not okay. Westland seems to just have a systemic problem when it comes to their school board, also, and their police department. We have dealt with some school to prison pipeline situations within the Westland School Board too. So this problem goes across the city. This is not the first time I've had a conversation about anything that has happened in Westland. I just don't understand why, when city council found out whenever it was that they didn't call an emergency meeting and do something about this situation.
Let me speak to that, Valerie, real quick, because I reached out to City Council President Hart. And first of all, he was very just like, what do you, just like, who are you, you peon? He didn't say that, but that's how his actions were. Well, I'm at work and I'm doing something. And I'm like, okay, well, why did you answer the phone, right? Like, and so I began to ask him, about the tape, and I don't even know what you're talking about it. So his stance was that he didn't know what it was. So I don't know that all of City Council seen it. But then again, they lie so much down there, you just never know what's the truth and what's not. So I don't know whether he actually seen the tape or not. Allegedly, he says he did not see it.
Well, that would be true. So I'm not going to, we can't say if they saw it or not. But as soon as it hit the news,
right,
and as soon as it hit Facebook, once it hit the Blue app, somebody, you have a public relations person out there, like somebody should have come forth and said something about this. You owe the people that much. But you've been rocked to sleep. When he was saying sing a song, well, I'm going to sing Lullaby Westland, lullaby. You've been rocked to sleep by your police chief. Because something should have happened. Wake up, people. Something should have happened. So on that note, we are going to take a musical break and listen to a song called Unbelievable, and we will be right back.
I have a dream. One day, this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Say we built this country. It's what it is today. Yesterday, on the backs of our brothers and sisters, and we still can't get paid. Put your foot on our necks, and you shoot us in our sleeve. We throw our hands up, only to beat. Said we'd run away, only to get shot in our back. In spite of it all, yes, sir, we remain glad. Unbelievable, unbelievable, just unbelievable, unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Ooh, come on, so unbelievable, unbelievable.
This note was a promise that all men, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
So we're still at war, and that's unbelievable. And the fight is still on. The battle will overcome. Jesus is the answer. The mess we're in. Still, it's unbelievable that the killing won't end. Oh, we gotta believe one day all will come. Yes, sir. And through faith in Jesus, all will be one. Unbelievable, just unbelievable. Yeah. Ooh,
It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check which has come back marked insufficient funds.
second to tell ya.
100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly.
You are listening to The Real Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, and we are talking about the heinous acts in the Westland Police Department, beginning with Chief Jedrusik at the top. And we do believe that this has cultivated a terrible, terrible, terrible climate for justice, for righteousness to take place. I am sick to my stomach talking about this, and it's hard. Back in 2017, William Marshall died in custody in the Westland Police Department. It would weigh heavy on me if it was anyone, but it weighed really, really heavy on me because I knew this young man. I knew his girlfriend. I've known her since she was very young. But for anybody to have been treated the way that William Marshall was on that day in Westland is reprehensible. I have with me Tracy Buckley, who is the wife of one of the officers who was with the other officers on that dreadful day. Welcome, Tracy. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you very much for having me here today.
Thank you for coming on. We spoke a little bit pre-show about this, and because it was troubling to me to know that he had ingested the crack cocaine and it was at a deadly dose and nothing was done about it, and people pretending like they didn't know that. Can you shed a little bit of light on that particular day?
Yes. Mr. Marshall was stopped by two Westland officers who were completing their midnight shift. It was in the early morning hours. He was stopped. And in the course of their traffic stop, they noted that he was chewing something. It was determined that they suspected highly that that was crack cocaine. And without saying too much, because we do still have an ongoing civil case against the city and 8 of the officers, they did remove crack cocaine from Mr. Marshall's mouth once they had him in custody. And the dash cam video did reveal that they had conversation with Mr. Marshall about what he was doing, what was in his mouth, and the potential consequences of his actions. And rather than following department policy and rather than doing the moral, appropriate thing for the man, that being taking him immediately to the hospital to seek medical attention or calling rescue to the scene even, they did nothing for him. They took him to Westland Police Department, booked him in jail, denied any medical problems for him, denied that he had taken any medication. Mr. Marshall also denied having any medical issues or any medication. And they did what's called a dump and run. They dumped him in jail and they went home for the day.
So sad. And as a result of that, your husband was the only officer that was terminated. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep. There were several other officers involved who were on the night shift, and there was a day shift lieutenant who also had knowledge of the crack cocaine ingestion, and the day shift SIU officer who field tested the evidence that was removed from Mr. Marshall's mouth. But Mr. Marshall had also swallowed a considerable amount of the medication, of the drug. So that is what ultimately took his life.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for sharing on today. I know that it is not easy to talk about this because that whole incident changed your life, your livelihood. Your husband being fired, that changed a lot of things. So when we talk about, loss of life, I just take my hat off to you for sharing. I know that it's not easy, and again, your husband losing his job, that changes a lot for a family.
He lost more than his job. It was not just his career that he lost. It changed my husband forever. He's not the same man that he was. It was a horrible injustice to my husband as well, what Jeff Jedrusik did, because Jeff Jedrusik lied and conspired against my husband to save the other 5 officers, and it was a despicable injustice. And
I'm sure, because mental health comes into play with that. I can equate it to when my father, God rest his soul, but he was in the Vietnam War. And I remember doing a research paper in school about the Vietnam War, and I wanted to talk to my dad about it. And he just did not want to even talk about that. It was just so much trauma involved in, him taking life, right, and to save his own life and to fight for this country, but then to just watch people die, right? So that does weigh heavy on you mentally and physically and emotionally, all of that. It's a huge thing. Trisha, are you there? Would you like to tap in?
I am here.
We can't see you now. I don't know what happened. Okay, thank you.
It's hard for me to talk about Mr. Marshall because there were so many officers there. There were ambulance, first responders there. And out of all the people there and all the training that they get, because they all, from the sergeant, the chief, all of them, they all get training on what they're supposed to do when someone ingests crack cocaine. There are policies put in place. Not one person out there followed them. And I say to myself, because if I was out there, I would have said, to hell with y'all, I'm putting him in this car and I'll drive him to the hospital myself, right? And so that's what, when you said earlier, up in the show earlier, you talked about the snitching, right? And how that cold blue silence, right? Where they all move to protect each other, but who's protecting us? If all they're going to do is protect each other, then when it comes to our needs and the things that we need, never, I'm going to be honest. They say, we were saying, well, I really wasn't saying it back then, defund the police. But in this instance, it ain't dismantle, right? The Westland Police Department needs to be dismantled from the top down. You know how when a city goes under and their money is gone, and what do they call it? Emergency manager, right? They need to put an emergency manager and some emergency officers over there in Westland. Because if you remove one person, that's not going to remove the problem. Because the culture has been set. For how long did he say? Oh, this was 25 years ago. It was so long ago. You sound so dumb and magnifying the fact that it was 25 years ago, because that means this crap been going on that long. And now here you sit 25 years later and you still not doing nothing. And we still getting reports about things that have happened. I can't, man, look, I don't know if we got enough time to go into all of this today.
Well, we do. We got about 45 minutes left. So, Tracy, I think we're getting some feedback from you. Can you mute for me, please?
I will certainly try.
Thank you. Alicia, hearing what you just heard, can you tap in and give us some feedback?
Yeah. For me, this is why the leadership at departments is so critical, because police, the legal system, and I talk to law enforcement officers about this all the time. The legal system was designed in this country. I'm running for sheriff. Sheriffs got their power from slave patrols. Historically, when you look at the roots of our legal system in America, sheriffs got their power from slave patrols in the South and oppressing unions in the North. They helped promote mass incarceration. When these systems were built, they purposely wanted typically poor, white, middle-class white people to be hired into them to work in the systems to oppress Black and brown people in this country. Now, we have restructured some things, but you still see these roots in present-day policing across our country. So knowing all of this, these systems were not designed to make sure the workers treated people with humanity. They were not designed to make sure that their mental health was taken care of. They were not designed to make sure that they don't do anything wrong. They were designed for them to be productive and to work. And that's why you have a lot of leadership that if they follow the status quo defaults of our systems, they're not making sure that officers, especially younger officers, are not harming the public. They're wanting them to go out and produce numbers. And their questions are, how many stops did you make? How many tickets? How many arrests? Their questions aren't, did you help someone today? Or how do you think you could have treated this person differently if maybe they were rude to them? Or they're not looking at the fact that they have officers that are working and they haven't slept in 2 days and they got a gun on their hip. Or an officer working in a Black community ain't never been around Black people before, and could that be a hazard to that community? Like, none of these questions are typically always being asked because these systems do not want those questions to be asked. And if you don't have leaders in these systems that are willing to push back on that and are willing to have honest, authentic conversations and set up mechanisms for accountability, then there's never going to be progress. You're always going to have young officers coming into this, some power hungry, some that want to help people. And then over time, this culture ends up creating situations where people leave or people end up falling into the default culture, which is really problematic. And it's the leadership that should be keeping the workers safe and making sure that they're not hurting people in this way. And if the leadership is also a part of the problem, then nothing is going to change at this department. And so I'm just picturing all the officers at Westland Police, the newer officers. Tracy mentioned they're trying to hire. You got newer officers coming into this department knowing their chief did this stuff to people. So regardless of when it happened, at that point, you have to ask yourself, is that a chief we want in Westland? And then again, with the internal investigations, what does the other leadership look like? Because leadership sets the example for the whole department. And so now you just embolden some people that might not think this is a big deal to act worse. And then the people that think that this is horrible and that they're ashamed, are they going to really want to still police at that department? I mean, so looking at it from a systemic lens, I mean, this is why I say our criminal justice system is criminal. And when you think about all the workers that are hurting other people in the community, I felt like I was sold a lie. I signed up for policing because I really cared. I got treated like crap growing up by the police, and I wanted to give back to my community and be an officer that was helpful. But then when I'm in it and I'm seeing how everything's working, you feel powerless. Mm-hmm. And so we have to do better, or else we're never going to have real safety in our community. And we're going to deal with this situation over and over and over again. So, yeah.
You know, yeah, because there's so many instances. This is just a few. The tape happened to be leaked, and you know, people who have been arrested have talked to us. I know within my family, and I see Stephanie Rochelle on here commenting about something that happened with her son with the Westland Police Department, and I'm sure there are more and more and more, but people just don't want to deal with it because of the trauma and everything else. Just let me go, here's the money, and I'm out of here, you know, and that's the thing about that. So before we move on with the segment, Tracy, is there anything else that you would like to say before we move on to our next segment? Again, I thank you for coming on, stating that your husband is not the same man that you married as a result of what happened to William Marshall. It changed your life tremendously and impacted his life immensely. I can only imagine what that's like. Is it anything else that you would like to say on behalf of yourself, your husband, your family? And you might still be on mute if you're speaking.
No, I have a lot that I would like to say. I'm gonna have to recuse myself from commenting on most of what I would like to say, other than I have become a warrior and I will not stop.
Yeah.
Until Chief Jedrusik is held accountable for everything that he's done to everyone, not just my husband, because I have discovered so much about him and his heinous, egregious behavior. I could do an entire segment with you alone telling you things that we have discovered, and I won't stop until he is removed from his position.
Well, I want to thank you for your time. I do understand with an ongoing, civil case pending that it's not a lot that you can say, but I do appreciate you coming on today and sharing what you could under these circumstances. Trisha, is it anything that you or Alicia would like to say to Tracy Buckley before she leaves?
I just want to say thank you, Tracy, and I apologize for all the backlash that you are getting, but I did set the record straight and let everybody know that we did not get this video from you. And, when it comes to injustice of any kind, I tell people all the time, it's not an easy feat. It's not something that is very uncomfortable work. So thank you for your commitment to expose the truth. And, but we need more than just Tracy. We need more than just, individuals who come here, there. Everybody knows the culture and what's going on there. And we need folks to stand together on May 1st and bring this out into the forefront. So thank you, Tracy.
You're welcome, and thank you. And I just real quick, just while we've been together this evening, I received 2 messages from a tipster about 2 more officers in the Westland Police Department, some incidences that have taken place. I'll share those with you at a later time after the show. But yeah, so I mean, people are stepping forward. They're tired of it all. The officers they're tired. They're tired of keeping secrets for the dictator. One other thing. I want the Marshall family to know that they are in our prayers every day. We think about Mr. Marshall and their family, and it has been a horrible experience for all of us, and we just want them to know that.
Thank you. Alicia, do you have any parting words for Tracy Buckley before she goes?
I was gonna say, you got me tearing up over here. I just, I admire your courage. I know that the space you're operating in can be extremely uncomfortable. And so I thank you for being authentic and honest, and for coming forward and speaking with us.
Thank you guys.
Tracy, and we'll be in touch because we might end up having to do part 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be the Leopard Change Your Spot series. But we thank you, and give your husband our love.
Will do. Thank you so much, ladies.
So long.
Good night.
So you have been listening to The Real Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream. We're discussing the heinous acts in the Westland Police Department. And I entitled this segment, Can a Leopard Change His Spots? Hell nah. So we're going to a musical break, and we'll be back.
With many parts, some are players, some are sharks. Broken minds, broken hearts, admitting that is where it starts. Recognizing who they are and don't let it go too far. Get that demon out your car and don't look back or there'll be scars.
No matter how far down you fall, there's a great purpose to it all. It's all a part of God's plan to get you to a place where you can stand. Every time I think about the pain and all the
listening to The Real Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, Straight Talk with Valerie, and I'm so happy to have former Washtenaw County Sheriff Alicia Dyer, my friend here. Dyer is fire. That's the new tagline for her. And of course, my warrior sister, Trisha Duckworth of Survivor Speaks. Trisha, our brother Tula Cabone is on here, and he said, you know what? It's like asking a crook to investigate another crook.
That part. What up, bro?
Tula, that's my boy. I love Tula. Tula said that's like asking a crook to investigate another crook. So what does accountability look like? Well, for me, it's not a training issue. I feel like I'm the best trainer in this country, hands down, and have been around this world training as far as China, hands down. And you could not put me in a room with a racist, unjust, undignified, ignorant cop and expect me to turn that behavior around within a number of hours. It is impossible. There is some insight that has to take place. I don't care how much outside I can step into a room and give in the form of a training or any conversation with any of these individuals. It is not going to change anything. So making training a requirement on the job for sensitivity training, diversity and inclusion training, and all of these other trainings is not doing anything but putting a whole bunch of money in that consulting company's pocket for them to come in there and spend a couple of hours talking to some people who are not going to change once that time is over. Because who you are, that's what it is. If you're a racist, you're a racist. You're not going to change because I trained you. If you're a crook, you're a crook. You're not going to change because I trained you. Come on now, let's be real. Let's be real. I'm sick of that. You want to come in, and you know, there's a lot of us, I've been offered some money to do some of those things, but guess what? That's a check I never cash. I'm not selling my soul out for nobody. That's a check I never cash. That money is not good because I'm not going to be able to impact your system. As Alicia outlined, the police department is doing what they're supposed to be doing because it originated back in slavery. So when we talk about it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, yes, the hell it is. Yes, it is. So in my mind, training is not going to help, but you know what will help? Pressure. Pressure from the residents. Pressure from Michigan State Police Department. Pressure from all of the people who are in position of power. Because let me tell you something. You know why Jedrusik is not going to step down? Power is a drug. It's like the crack that you had, William, that you said William swallowed. Power is a drug. That's why he's not going to step down, nor does anybody else across this country that are in positions of power. You got to put them out kicking and screaming because power is a drug. So that is not going to be the solution, waiting on him to step down. And then it's almost like a mafia style club or clique or something, all of them in it together, you know, and the ones who are not, they don't want to risk their life. They could come up missing, friendly fire, killed. You know, we don't know what could potentially happen to that one or two people who know that what's going on is not right. But they're afraid because I don't know anything that I'm willing to die for. Not anything. I don't know anything I'm willing to die for. The only thing is that little boy that I'm raising. I'll put my life on the line for him. But a cause or something else, I'm not willing to die for that. So I wouldn't step up and say, hey, you know, I'm going to put my life on the line to change this whole thing. That's not me. I would have to do it another way. And that way is to organize, mobilize, stand up, and apply pressure. So with that being said, there's something going down on May 1st. Survivor Speaks. Nobody can beat Trisha Duckworth in mobilizing and organizing and getting things together. So I'm going to turn it over to her because I heard that the mayor is not impressed by anything that's going on. So Trisha, can you tap in?
Sure. Anytime something like this happens, or with any movement, there has to be a measure of solidarity. There has to be a measure of folks standing, right? Now, I'm going to stand 10 toes down for what's right, regardless of who there, okay? Until we can go round up other people. But I am asking everybody to meet us at City Hall on May the 1st. That's a Monday. We'll be there at 6 p.m. and then we will go in and take and have public comment, and so that we can share with City Council and the mayor what our intentions are and what we want to see. Now, I hear they're calling me an outsider. Guess what? I used to go to church in Westland, okay? And I ride through out of time. And, you know, it doesn't matter whether I'm from there or not, because wherever I see clowns, that's where it's going down, okay? Wherever there's injustice, what did Martin Luther King said? Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, right? And so, yes, I am not from Westland, but it does not matter. I'm asking the citizens of Westland who know what is going on to take that stand. You are the boss of those elected officials. You don't have to let them sit in those seats and do what they want to do, as the last mayor, who is no longer there, who knew he wasn't going to stay and just didn't want Tasha to get the seat, so he ran against her. Let's just put that out there, right? But then it's passed down to somebody who obviously doesn't care about justice either. So you know what has to happen? You have to make folks care. First of all, the mayor was not elected. So for him to be so cocky and arrogant, I do not understand that. Because, sir, you are appointed, which means that you have to get elected again, okay? And that means that the citizens of Westland can stand up against this man being elected because he knew about the tape since February, I believe, is what I heard.
Yeah, allegedly. And said that he's not worried about it. It'll just go away.
And he just, you know, it wasn't a big deal because they were able to sweep it under the rug. Nobody knew about it. Nobody was saying anything about it. Then, of course, these things can get swept up under the rug. That is why your voice is so important. It's not enough to just vote for these people. You have to stand on guard, watch, be at the table, and hold them accountable every step of the way. Because when you do not hold elected officials accountable, they do what they want to do. They create all these bright ideas on our behalf, and they don't even know if we like it or not. Well, how would they know if we're not actually there speaking up? And then the ones that are there speaking up most times are in support of the foolishness. So if you see people in their support of the foolishness, then you need to be challenging them as well. No stone unturned when it comes to these injustices. You saw the videos. I don't know if you guys seen the video where the woman was actually, her pants were down.
We can show that one. We did not show it. You want to show it?
A black woman, her pants down. She's wiping herself. She had urinated on herself. And they're just standing there filming her without her knowledge. That should be video voyeurism, right? You can't go and just put a video in somebody's window and record them. So just because they're standing in public, you get to record them and you are a police officer? Come on, y'all, stop it making excuses for Jedrusik. If I'm probably saying his name wrong, I call him Chief Jed. Stop making excuses for Chief Jed. He gotta go. And everybody in there that has operated with this kind of behavior, and it's gonna be on us to stand tall on May the 1st at 6 p.m.
Yes, so let's go out with the grand finale of Chief Jed. And this is a sister that they filmed. And I'm going to say they, because there was another officer there at the time, as Matt Price, allegedly. So Jedrusik, or Jedrusik, however the hell you say it.
Jedrusik.
So Jedrusik and Price. Here we are. So roll that last clip for me, Marquise.
Don't go to bed with no price on your head. No, no. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do the crime if you can't do the crime. Yeah. Don't do it. And keep your eye.
Get a close up of that, buddy.
Despicable. You can hear them laughing. Disgusting. You have been tuned in to the Real Black Coffee, no sugar, no cream, straight talk. We're going to get ready to close this show out. Before I do, I want to thank Alicia Dyer for coming on, former Washtenaw County Sheriff. Alicia, do you have anything that you want to share to close this segment out?
I just think that it's important for everyone to show up on May 1st. As Trichet was saying, that last video was, for me, the hardest to watch as a woman, seeing the way that she was being treated, and just my own background in knowing how officers have treated other women in domestic violence incidents and sexual assault incidents, and that just behavior is corrupt, is wrong, and I think that the work in drawing attention to these issues is critical if we're going to actually have accountability and actually see change. And so I thank both of you for having me here on the show to talk about some of these issues, and I'll just say that I will see you on May 1st, Trichet, and I hope that more people come out to advocate for the demands that people are going to be advocating for.
Thank you so much. I just love you and adore you and appreciate you, and you have a wonderful week. Thank you for your insight and your input, and good luck to you in your future endeavor.
Thank you.
All righty. Trichet.
Yeah. Thank you, Valerie, for always being willing to use your platform to stand for what's right. I want everybody to understand we just cracked the surface tonight. We're definitely going to have to come back for a part 2, because what we didn't share with you is we have had more information to surface since this. And we can briefly mention it before we go, Valerie.
We got about 15 minutes. Let it roll.
There is a report of an officer who was inebriated or drunk at the casino. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Valerie, on this. And got into an altercation where he was calling folks the N-word.
Yeah, DPD officers.
calling DPD officers the N-word, throwing around the fact that he was a sergeant or that he was, with the Westland Police Department and this, that, and the third. This guy right now is on administrative leave. Now, anybody that'll use the N-word, they racist. That guy shouldn't be. When you go on administrative leave, that's just a form of another paid vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be clear on that. Because you still getting a check, you still getting your benefits, all while you calling black people the N-word. And the chief thinks that it's okay to place this man on administrative leave and cut him a check until it blows over. And only when, shout out to Ed Pruitt, right? Pastor Pruitt, who always gonna push back, and they don't like that, and begin to ask questions. Now all of a sudden there's going to be a press conference or a video about this behavior, right, that happened, what was it, a week or so ago?
It was opening day for the Tigers. So just a couple of weeks ago. And that's my thing. Yeah, you on administrative leave, because what is Chief Jeff gonna say? Oh, well, he was a little immature. He gonna grow up. I remember when I was like that, buddy. Don't worry about it. We're going to chalk it up to immaturity, and you take this administrative leave and grow up a little bit while you're off. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks. All on the Westland's payroll. Let me say this. I don't live in Westland either. So if you're listening and you live in Westland, I can't vote. I can speak up on what I want to speak about, wherever I want to speak about it, whenever I want to speak about it. I don't have to live in Westland to do that. I'm flat from Inkster, loud and proud any day of the week. Okay. I'm a Detroiter is where I reside. But guess what? If you live in Westland and you're not okay with this, you need to stand up. You need to be there on May 1st at 6 o'clock at the city council meeting. And for the mayor to allegedly say he's not intimidated or impressed by any of this activism or the pressure, okay, you don't have to be. We're not trying to impress anybody, sir. We're not trying to impress anyone. But what you're doing is wrong. That is all this is about. This is not about anti-police. This is about injustice. I have family members that are police officers right now. And I would call them out too if they were doing something like you and anyone else. Jedrusik. I got to say that shit slow so I don't mess it up. But, it's just an atrocity. So again, if you are in Westland, you don't have to be. We have to stand together. We need to mobilize. We need to come together. All of the changes that we have gotten thus far throughout history began with direct action. And direct action is showing up at that city council meeting at 6 o'clock on May 1st. If your child has ever been arrested in Westland, if you think your child might be arrested in Westland, because that's one thing we are bad about. I'm talking to my people now. We wait until stuff happen to us, and then, we get excited about it and want to do something about it. But this is one of those things you don't want to happen to you. You don't want to sit around and wait until this happens to your son, your daughter, or you. Now is the time. Support others so when it's your turn, that can be reciprocated.
That's right.
So come on out on May 1st at 6 o'clock and let's stand together. Let's stand together and see what city council has to say about this. I know Edward Pruitt is going to be there. He lives in Westland. He's ran for mayor. I stand corrected. He's ran for mayor in the past, and he's running for council now. So I wanted to correct that because I misspoke earlier. So we hope to see as many people as possible that are from Westland that can vote for these people, vote them out. You need to be there. That's why they say, oh, they don't feel any pressure. We don't live there. We can't vote for them, so we don't have no say. All we can do is put it out on this platform and put it out there so that other people are aware of what's going on. You're right. We don't have the power to vote you in or out, sir. You're absolutely right. But we certainly can share this video. This video will be up on my YouTube channel tonight, I hope, Marquise. We're going to put that video up on the Real Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, a YouTube channel, and you will be able to see it from the beginning and share. I really wish, and I'm going to do is reach out to Ben Crump. We need you, Ben.
Yeah,
because they say we don't have no pressure. But when Ben come to town, that's some pressure for your ass.
Yeah, well, when they see this this news contact that I got that's coming up, if they bite that story, we're gonna see how impressed you are then. When it hit nationwide and international, then we're gonna see if you're gonna do something about it. And let that be shown that the mayor is not for what's right. He should not be elected. He was not elected. He was appointed, and he should not be elected to that seat. Not because he's any type of, political party, but because he is not for righteousness, because he is not for justice, because he is not willing to do what is right. He does not deserve that seat.
I agree. So we're going to see
against him too, and because they like to threaten the nonprofit. That I have my Black Lives hat on when I said that.
That's right. Don't confuse it. Don't confuse it at all. So with that being said, Alicia, did you want to chime in?
Yeah, I was going to say, and really the something that really bugs me about leadership in general is why the attitude? You have people organizing for their rights and organizing to call out some stuff that has been extremely harmful. You have videos out there. Don't be mad at people because they're organizing around their rights. And so, when you see elected leaders with this attitude and this mindset, oh, they're not even from here, or, oh, I'm not impressed, or, oh, there's only 4 people that, whatever they do, it's ask yourself, why do you have an attitude? Because if you actually got into the role that you're in to serve the people and serve the community, then you should be doing it with love and with humanity front and center, not your own ego or your own attitude. And so it's not only, I think, officers that need to take a look at how they're behaving, it's the leadership, and it's some of these elected officials as well, quite frankly, because those attitudes are what set up communities to be harmed. And those same attitudes are also what gets in the way of actual progress.
I agree. Because as it says in the word, where 2 or 3 are gathered, so is he. So if it's 2 or 3.
If it's me and Valerie, we're going to stand tall, 10 toes down, baby.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I'm going to say this as I prepare to close out. Direct action is powerful. And people will say, and I used to be one of them, like, oh, they're protesting, they're marching or whatever. But I discovered through my warrior sister friend, and I'm still not a marcher, but I got her back. That's why you see me out there barefoot and all. But that's not something I do. So if you call me and ask me to come march, I'm not coming. But I will do what is necessary. I know what my gift is. I know what type of advocacy I can provide. I know my role in this fight. Do you know yours? And if you don't sit back and talk about the other people that's doing the work. If you don't have a dog in the fight, don't sit back and talk about the other people that's doing the work and how they are doing it. Lead by example. And again, direct action is how we got as far as we did. If it didn't take Martin to stand up and Malcolm to stand up and so many more, Huey Newton to stand up, we wouldn't be where we are today. It is our fault that we didn't cultivate more leadership to take that mantle and move forward. As Trichet always says so eloquently, we let the civil rights movement rock us to sleep. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. We don't get more because we don't do more. We don't demand more. When we start to demand more, we'll get more. And that's what it is. That's what it is. So with that being said, you have been tuned into the Real Black Coffee, no sugar, no cream, where I don't try to spill the tea or make you feel dazed like you drank a shot of cheap liquor. I'm just here to articulate very strong statements to make you see things from another perspective, mine. And stay tuned. I'll see you on May 1st, but stay tuned because there's more. We're going to come back, and we're out of here.
I have a dream. One day, this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal.
Say we built this country. It's what it is today. Yesterday, on the backs of our brothers and sisters, and we still can't get paid. Put your foot on our necks, and you shoot us in our sleeve. We throw our hands up, only to beat. I said we run away, only to get shot in our backs. In spite of it all, we remain glad. Unbelievable, just unbelievable, unbelievable, it's unbelievable. Ooh, come on, so unbelievable, unbelievable.
This note was a promise that all men, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
So we're still at war, and that's unbelievable. And the fight is still on. The battle will overcome. Jesus is the answer. Tell them that's we're in. Still, it's unbelievable that the killing war